Imagine, if you will, you spent your whole life in difficult conditions. Food and shelter weren't given to you, instead you had to go earn them, day in and day out. Thus, you worked and worked and worked until one day, you made it. You hit the jackpot. You became one of the rich. Would you then compensate for lost time, blow your money on cars, houses, and a life of luxury, even though you know that this money isn't necessarily going to stay forever? Well, what I had just described is basically the life of most athletes, unfortunately. Zion Williamson appears to be on that path. Having balled out in high school, you practically couldn't escape his mixtapes, even if you tried. They were literally everywhere. After high school, Zion joined the equally prestigious and hated Duke University, where he played there for one lonesome season. He averaged around 22 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 assists with some outstanding performances, which had him win a buttload of awards and being the consensus All-American first team. Thus, he became by default the #1 pick in the 2019 draft. Aside from his numbers, just look at the dude, man. Continuing on that path of an athlete, Zion showed out on the draft, donning the same white suit that a former all-time great once did, almost hinting at him being the second coming of LeBron James. And when the 2019-2020 season came, fans were salivating at the mouth to see his debut, to see what this Goliath of a rookie was capable of in the big leagues. And well, Zion didn't disappoint, albeit after 3 months of inaction, but still.
Tell us before the game we might see some zone. Here is Zion stepping back, pulling the trigger, and hitting a three. Here's a lob to Zion, and he finishes over DeRozan. 5 straight for the rookie.
I think Nico Melli is coming in for him right here.
Here's Zion for 3, hit it again! They want Zion to get it. Here he is. And Pirtle blocked it. Zion gets it back and finishes. 10 points in just over a minute for Zion Williamson. Zion gives it up. Gets it back. Here he is again. Got it again!
And Alvin Gentry over at the bench frustrated because he's about to send a substitution in.
Gets it back. Zion for 4 for 4! Welcome to the NBA!
22 points, 8 of 11, and 4 of 4 from the gosh darn 3. The 3. So yes, Zion was Zioning, like we all imagined he would. His debut season was indeed just like we expected, getting the nod for the rookie all-team and some outstanding performances, like that Lakers game. Yet for the Rookie of the Year award, well, Ja was jawing a little too hard. Thus he won it. But still, many hailed this as a great start for the young lion that is Zion. His second season, well, Zion continued to Zion. Amazing performances here and there and all that stuff. But then, in the off-season, something weird happened. Zion suffered a foot injury that many thought wouldn't have him missed that much time. Right? Zion missed the entirety of the 2021-2022 season. Moreover, during this season of will he or won't he play, Zion at times appeared in the court and worked out to show that he's doing his very best to get back on the court. And well, why don't I leave Chuck to comment on that?
So this is Zion warming up. We don't have him. It could be another 2-3 weeks, but Chuck, you had a visceral reaction to this.
It looked like me and Shaq had a baby.
Thanks, Chuck. Never change. A devastating blow to his early career to miss out a season, but still. The franchise had no reason to not believe in Zion. At every point when healthy, Zion showed his true potential, so they signed him to a 5-year extension in the very offseason of 2022. Yet, that image stuck in the minds of people. A foot injury taking a year instead of weeks, and the player who's injured appearing extremely out of shape. It made people speculate about his commitment to basketball. Nonetheless, Zion had the entire next season to shut him up, And through the first 28 games of the season, Zion balled like his life depended on it, with numbers of 26 points, 7 rebounds, and 4.5 assists, not to mention the Pelicans were the second seed in the West. Zion truly shut them all up. But then, it happened. Zion got injured. This time it was his hamstring, which would see him miss the remainder of that season. And once again, the accusations of lack of commitment reared their ugly head at him. But you see, Zion had something far more devastating brewing on the sidelines. Mariah Mills is an adult star, and this young lady is Zion's pregnant girlfriend. Why am I telling you this? Well, it's because Zion was also Zioning off the court, if you're catching my drift. Now, are we to judge a basketball player for activities that are mostly legal beyond the basketball court? No. But it sure as hell made for some nice topics in the usually boring off-season. Hence, people talked and talked. But most importantly, they mentioned that all of this chaos further hammers down the concept that Zion wasn't committed to basketball as we thought he was. A player that is constantly injured for far too long, appears to be completely out of shape in his recovery, and now it turns out he's been balling out but not on the court? The point is that this didn't help Zion's case one bit. Yet Zion still had what many athletes before him have once they are mangled in controversy. The concept of blocking out the noise and locking the hell in, which he did. Zion played 70 games last season, averaging 23 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists, and the Pelicans made the playoffs. Yet, when the playoffs arrived, the hamstring injury arrived too, and Zion missed it. Through all of this process, and even up to this season, which saw him only play a few games before being sidelined, Zion Williamson was just simply unlucky. Being injured isn't something that any player should be blamed for, right? Joel Embiid is an unbelievable player. A player that in many ways could stand tall as the very next evolution of the big man in basketball. He can back you down, shoot step-back threes, and even fade away mid-rangers. He's almost perfect. Yet he is also hated. Plagued with injuries in the most important times, fans also questioned his own commitment to basketball, which admittedly JoJo didn't help his case with that really bad press conference earlier in the season. For you see, getting injured once, fans will overlook. Getting injured twice, fans shall grimace, but still nothing too serious. Getting injured 3 times, that's when fans will doubt you. And you must, as a player, maintain that you're trying your very hardest to get back on that court. For Zion, he had failed in that tremendously. Appearing overweight, taking longer than people expected in recovery, and the whole Miss Mills situation. That narrative stuck with him. He was in the eyes of many pursuing the famous athlete path of which we talked about. Live large to compensate for the times you weren't. Consequently, Zion is rumored to be traded, which if we gaze upon NBA lore, we shall find numerous examples of how bad that can actually really be for a lottery pick. To go from being the franchise player to being a player in a franchise. I, however, do not know if Zion is indeed on that path or not. If all Zion wanted was just a taste of the high life and he never had any interest in pursuing basketball or not. What I know for certain is 2 things. 1, Zion is extremely talented. He had showed time and time again that he can be one of the best in the league and even one of the future faces of it. And 2, for him to understand that he has now experienced the highest highs and the lowest lows that basketball in the NBA could offer you, which usually yield one of 2 outcomes. You either sink or swim. So what will it be, Mr. Williamson? But before you answer that, let me just remind you that though vices and luxuries are tempting, they are temporary, while memory is eternal. Thus, ask yourself, Zion, how would you want people to remember you? Just a guy or the guy?